It is Sunday. We are back together again on a rather nice day. The weather is better than it has been. It's quite mild. We have 14 Celsius today. It is very warm indeed. Hello, welcome. We are back together once more. English Addict is here again, coming to you live from the birthplace of the English language, which just happens to be England. We are back together. We are back together again. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you feeling happy today? I hope you are feeling good, because we are all back here again. English Addict is what this is called. It is a live stream. There are very few English teachers doing live streams like this. In fact, I can tell you now, there is only one in the world doing this, and that's me. So welcome, and if it is your first time, can I say hello to you? My name is Duncan. I talk about the English language. You might say I am crazy about English. I love English very much. You might say that I am an English addict. So that is what I am doing here today for the next 2 hours. So find yourself a comfortable seat, get yourself a nice hot drink, or maybe something cool, or perhaps even something a little alcoholic, maybe a little bit of wine or whiskey, or maybe a pint of Guinness. Can I say congratulations, well done to all those who are awake at the moment here in the UK, and of course across Ireland as well, because it is St. Patrick's Day today. Of course, everyone will be celebrating by having a pint of Guinness. It is something you must do every year. On St. Patrick's Day, you must have a glass, at least 1 pint of Guinness. So, hello to all those who are awake. I have a feeling this time tomorrow you won't be awake. Maybe you will be fast asleep, sleeping off your hangover. By the way, if you sleep off something, it means you are recovering, normally by staying in bed. Apparently, this is the new trend for young people. A lot of young people now quite often will spend at least 1 or 2 days in bed. It has become a new trend amongst those under the age of 30, apparently. And they call it bed rotting. Isn't that horrible? So do you sometimes like to stay in bed? I know I do. Sometimes in the morning I wake up, I do not want to get up at all, and I like to stay in bed. But these days, apparently, there are some people, they want to stay in bed for many, many hours. Not during the night, but during the day. And apparently they call it bed rotting. You rot in bed. You just lie there because you don't want to do anything. Anyway, I hope you are up and about. Maybe you are watching me at the moment in bed. Oh, I'm not sure if I can allow that. I really don't know if I can allow you to watch me in bed, because that might be seen as a little bit naughty. By the way, if you like this, please give me a big like. And, well, let's just say it will put a smile on my face. Like this, you see. So give me a like, and it would be very, very, very nice to see you here. By the way, for those who can't find their coat hanger or their clothes hanger, I have it here. Do you find these things annoying? They are really, really annoying. You can never find one of these when you need it. You might go to your closet or your wardrobe and you can never find a spare clothes hanger. Never. Why is that? Now, I know some people are thinking, Mr. Duncan, the world is a crazy place. There are many bad things happening, and all you can think about is not having enough clothes hangers. But to be honest with you, this is quite a big deal. You might say that this is one of the problems that people sometimes have to put up with. It isn't a big thing. It isn't a drastic thing. It isn't a terrible thing. But sometimes you can't find a clothes hanger. In fact, I would say at the moment, if you are watching this, I would imagine over the past month, at least once, you have had difficulty finding one of these. Maybe you've been to the shops and you've bought a new item of clothing, and maybe you are looking for something to hang that thing on. But you can't find one. You can't find one of these. I don't know why. They are so annoying because you can never find one when you need it. That is enough of that for now. So it's nice to have you here today. Mr. Duncan, that's me. We also have coming up later on, I suppose I should tell you now, there is someone else joining me on the live stream, and here it is, your warning. Stand by, because Mr. Steve will be with us in around about 20 minutes from now. So don't go away. Don't click something else. Don't go away to look at those videos of dogs and cats licking themselves and doing funny things. Stay here with me because I am also a very lovely, fluffy animal. So think of me as your pet dog. Think of me as your favourite animal. And I would imagine we can all have a good time today. So Mr. Steve will be with us a little bit later on. We are talking about getting things wrong. Sometimes it happens. For example, last week, I got something wrong. I was talking about, well, in fact, I got two things wrong last week. Now, I don't mind. I am a human being. They say to err is human. To forgive is divine. So sometimes we do make mistakes. Human beings often make mistakes. I got two things wrong last week. First of all, I said the capital of Haiti was Princetown, but of course it isn't. It's Port-au-Prince. And also, I couldn't remember who was fighting in the American Civil War. Now, I knew it was the South and the North, but I did get a little bit confused. The South, of course, were the Confederates. They wanted to divide themselves away from the rest of the United States. And it was all because of slavery. Because in the South, they wanted to keep slavery, whilst the government at that time was trying to abolish slavery. But in the South, they didn't want to. They wanted to keep their slaves. So they separated. They wanted to separate from the rest of the United States. And that brought about the beginning of the American Civil War. And in the North, of course, they were known as the Union. So the battle in the American Civil War, the main disagreement was between the Unions or the Unionists and also the Confederate side, and they were in the South. They wanted to keep slavery going. So I did make a couple of mistakes, and to be honest, I never have a problem. If I make a mistake If I say something and it's wrong, I don't mind. I have no problem admitting my mistake. So we are talking about that today. There are many words and phrases we can use in the English language. The North was also known as the Yankees. You are right. Yes, I think you are right. So we had that big divide that took place. Anyway, I got it wrong last week, but I am now correcting myself. You see, it's okay. There is nothing wrong with being wrong. It is perfectly normal. We all do it from time to time. Hello live chat, by the way. We are live now, and also you can join in as well on the live chat, which is now running. I think it's over there. So if you are watching me on your computer, it will be over there. Maybe it might be underneath. Maybe it might be above my head. But the important thing to remember is the live chat is now running. It is operating. So in life, we often think that there is a right way to do something and a wrong way to do something. You do something in the right way, you do something in the wrong way. You do something correctly, you do something incorrectly. That is what we are talking about today. Oh, by the way, very exciting news. There is, and I have mentioned this very briefly on my Facebook page, there is a new channel coming soon. A new YouTube channel. It's big news. It is the first time it's happened since 2006 when I started making my YouTube videos. There is a new YouTube channel. I will be on there. There will be lots of lessons. A very different type of channel. Very different from this. So all of that coming up. Lots of details over the next few weeks about that. So I won't tell you any more about that today. I don't want to spoil the surprise. Hello to Vitas. Vitas, congratulations. You are first once again on today's live chat. Well done, Vitas. Also we have, he is back, everyone. Luis Mendes is here today. Hello, Luis. Nice to see you back as well. We also have Beatrice. Hello, Beatrice. Can I, first of all, say thank you very much for the photograph you sent me. And guess what? Beatrice now has a t-shirt very similar to mine. Not exactly the same. I have to say it is not as good as this one, but it does look very nice. It's a kind of salmon pink colour, whereas this today, can you see my shirt? Do you like it, by the way? My shirt and my hat. I had this specially made for me, and I asked the t-shirt supplier, I asked for communist red. Apparently it is a real colour. So this colour of my t-shirt is communist red. Don't worry, I'm not a communist, but I do like the colour red. It's very nice. Have you noticed how many flags around the world? There are many flags that actually have the colour red in them, including the Union flag here in this country. So we do have red in our country as well, on our flag. But you will notice there are many flags around the world representing each country, and many of them have the colour red. Isn't that strange? So you might be surprised to find out. In fact, if we have time, we will try to have flags of the world at around about 3 o'clock. And then you can watch all of the flags, and you can see how many have red in them. It is very strange. Hello, Laura. Hello, also Palmyra. We have Mustaf. Hello, Mustaf. Hello to you. Also, Christina is here as well. And also we have Christina Jackson is here. Hello, Christina Jackson. Olga. Hello, Olga. I have spent this morning doing something very strange. I don't know why. Maybe it is because of the time of year we are in, but there seem to be lots of insects around, especially ladybirds. So here we call them ladybirds. Other people might call them ladybugs. But they are very, very easy to spot because they are bright red. Once again, red, you see. I seem to be talking about red quite a lot today. So they do seem to be getting everywhere in the house. I keep finding ladybirds all over the house. Palmyra says, Mr. Duncan, bed rotting. Is the spelling right? Yes. If you like to lie in bed, if you don't want to get up in the morning, and let's face it, most of us don't want to get out of bed in the morning, including me, especially on a Monday. Monday has to be the worst day for getting out of bed. I think so. Most people don't want to get up in the morning, especially on Monday. Pedro. Oh, hello, Pedro. Pedro Belmont is here today. I don't know what's wrong with me today. I feel quite excited. You might describe me today as being a little bit hyper. Hyper. Now there is an interesting word. Hyper. Today I am a little bit hyper. It means excited, to be very excited about something or by something. Maybe something is making you feel excited. So today I am a little bit hyper, which means over excited or something that is more than usual. So today I am feeling excited, maybe because spring is in the air. As you saw at the start of today's live stream, the daffodils in the garden are now waving in the breeze. Also, we can use the word hyper as a prefix. So if there is more than usual of something, we can use the prefix hyper. For example, if you are breathing too fast, we can say that you are hyperventilating or hyperventilating. So a person who is breathing too fast or too quickly is hyperventilating. They are breathing too fast. So if you are doing something too much, or if something is more than usual, we can use the term hyper. Or of course we can use it as a prefix as well. If something is large, maybe you can have a hyper car park or a hypermarket. Something that is larger than it usually is. Something that is much larger than it usually is. Then we have the opposite. There is an opposite, by the way. Hypo. Hypo is the opposite to hyper. So if something is described as hypo, it means it is under or low or below a certain level. So quite often we can use hypo as a prefix as well. Something that is lower than it should be. Something that is not as high as it should be. Hypoglycemia is something a person can get. Maybe if there is not enough blood sugar Maybe if the sugar in your blood is too low, you might start to become dizzy and feel unwell. So I am feeling not hypo, I am feeling hyper. You might say that I am quite excited to be with you today. In fact, I would say, and I mean this, without you and without this, my life would be meaningless. There would be nothing for me to get up for in the morning. I would definitely be in bed, rotting in bed. I think so. Christina is talking about clothes hangers because you can never find one when you need it. I often manage to break the hangers because they are made of plastic. I prefer wooden ones. You are right, because this one here is made of plastic and they can break very easily, but this one is quite large. So I think this one is used for maybe hanging a coat. So you might hang a very heavy coat or a large dress, something very heavy you will hang on this particular clothes hanger. But the thing I hate about them is you can never find them. There are never enough, and I don't know why. It is one of life's mysteries, I think. Mr. Steve will be here soon. I will give you another warning because I feel as if I should really. Mr. Steve will be with us in 5 minutes from now, just another 5 minutes before Mr. Steve appears on your screens. It is St. Patrick's Day today. Can I say happy St. Patrick's Day if it is St. Patrick's Day where you are? Maybe you are celebrating somehow. Maybe you are having a glass of Guinness. Between you and me, I don't like Guinness. I know what you're going to say, Mr. Duncan. That is terrible. How dare you? How dare you say that? But I don't like it. I don't like the taste. It's like drinking oil that's just been drained out of your car. I don't like the colour. I don't like the taste. I don't like the smell. So I don't like Guinness. So today I will not be drinking a glass of Guinness to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. But for those who are, can I say have a good time and don't drink too much. Hello to Inaki. Hello Inaki. Thank you for joining me today. We have a lot of things to talk about. By the way, we are going to look at something a little bit rude and disgusting later on. Something rude and disgusting. So don't go away. It will put you off your dinner. It will make you feel a little bit sick. But I have to show you because this is part of being British. And I do like to share some of our cultural ways with you. There are many things we do here, many things we have that other people don't. And this is something I'm going to show you a little bit later on with Mr. Steve. And it is a little bit, it might make you feel a little unwell when you see it. Also, it's a little bit rude as well. Pedro Belmont has to go to the dentist. I have had trouble with my teeth as well. One of my teeth at the back. I don't know why. I hate it. I hate this tooth. I want to pull it out. By the way, Claudia, thank you very much for your advice concerning my tooth. You said that I should go to the dentist or I should have it pulled out. Ooh, okay. Someone also suggested drinking warm water will help your tooth. It will stop it from hurting. So, yes, we will see what happens there. Who else is here? Quatiba. Hello, Quatiba is here as well. Hello to you. And also we have Sash. Hello to Double Sash. It's nice to see you here today. Mr. Steve is coming soon, and I wonder what he's going to say to us today. Very nice. So lots of things to look forward to. Of course, we are coming up towards Easter. Easter is on its way, and I suppose I should also mention that at this time of year, many people are eating hot cross buns. A lot of people love hot cross buns, a very traditional thing that a lot of people eat at this time of year. And there they are, floating by on the screen right now. Lovely hot cross buns. And last week, if you were watching last week, you will have noticed that Mr. Steve made his own hot cross bun loaf. Spicy, with lots of fruit inside. Hello also to Matador. Hello, Matador. I'm wondering if you are a real matador, or maybe you just like dressing up in the costume, because it can look rather sexy, to be honest. In a moment, Mr. Steve will be here, so don't go away, and we have lots of things to talk about for the next 1.5 hours. Everything will be interesting, trust me. And also we have something rather rude to show you as well. All of that coming up right after this. Who is looking forward to going on holiday this year? I have to say I am definitely looking forward to it. Here we go then. English Addict is with you, and yes, he is on his way. You know who I'm talking about. Here we are. We're back. we are doing our special Sunday live stream, and he is here. Of course he is here. It wouldn't be Sunday English Addict without the man who likes to walk around the garden. He likes to talk to the plants. He likes to hug the trees. And sometimes he likes to do live streams, like now, for example. It is Mr. Steve.
Hello, everyone. Wonderful viewers across the globe. And hello to you, Mr. Duncan, as well.
Wait there, Steve. Now, for some reason, I don't know why. Wait there a second. Let me just sort this out. Just give me a moment. Because I think what I've done, I tell you what I've done, Steve. I've put Mr. Steve's microphone in the wrong hole. So give me a second, Steve, just a moment. Don't say anything. Let me just sort this out. It's my fault. A technical error. Okay. Let's see if it works now. Mr. Steve.
Yes?
Ah.
Is that better, Mr. Duncan?
That is better.
Am I now audible?
Yes, you are going right into my ear.
That's good. I shall say again, hello, lovely viewers from across the globe, and hello to you too, Mr. Duncan. These things, we're live. You can tell we're live. That's the excitement of us being here live. Anything can happen. That is I could strip off any minute.
That is the reason why I love doing this, to be honest. The reason why I love doing this is because it's live, spontaneous. You don't know what is going to happen. So the reason for your microphone problem is because I've been doing other things. I'm making lots of new video lessons because I'm launching a new channel on YouTube. I know what you're going to say. So for the first time in 17 years, there will be a second YouTube channel. And, well, I'm not going to say anything else. I will leave it for now. I don't want to give all of it away. So there will be something special coming. But so that's the reason why Mr. Steve's microphone was in the wrong hole. There is nothing worse than putting your microphone in the wrong hole. It can create a lot of problems. Hello, Mr. Steve. Oh, guess what, Steve?
Yes?
Do you know what today is?
Today is Sunday.
It is Sunday, and it is St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, right. Okay, I didn't see that.
Go on. Can you do an Irish accent for me?
Oh, to be sure. It's St. Patrick's Day today.
Okay, that might be the worst Irish accent I've ever heard. You sounded like a farmer.
I'm an Irish farmer, Mr. Duncan.
Oh, okay.
I'm always a farmer, as you know, because I do like doing the farmer accent.
I think that might be, Steve, that might be the only accent you can do. Anyway, it is St. Patrick's Day. A lot of people are raising their glass of Guinness and saying, Happy St. Patrick's Day. I don't like Guinness. Do you like it, Steve?
It's all right. It gives me indigestion, gives me sort of acid reflux. It's a bit strong. Guinness is very dark. It's quite strong. I don't mind sort of half a pint of it, and then after that, it just doesn't taste nice to me. But then it's all, it's. I prefer a lighter beer. Shall we put it that way?
Yes, maybe lager. Maybe something that's been brewed at someone's house. It is a big thing in this country, isn't it? A lot of people do like to make their own beer at home.
I think so. I mean, I don't know anyone that does, but...
my dad did.
Yes, that was many decades ago, Mr. Duncan.
My dad, but a lot of people still make their own beer at home.
Well, I used to make my own wine.
We have a friend. We used to go to his house, didn't we? And he would give us glasses of beer that he'd made himself, but the only thing was he made us pay for it.
Oh, no, he used to buy that in, Mr. Duncan.
Oh, I see.
Yes, he bought in a keg of beer, a keg, which is like a small, round barrel of
Yes.
beer. A
keg is basically a barrel.
Yes, and that was at the end of shows. I used to make wine, Mr. Duncan, when I was
But
younger.
my dad used to make beer. There's a warm part of the house where there used to be a hot water tank, and my dad used to make beer in there with lots of tubes and all sorts of things. It's an incredibly complicated process making beer. And it takes a very long time. I think you have to have a lot of patience. Anyway, today is St. Patrick's Day. Oh, the other thing I want to mention, it's also Ramadan at the moment. So all those out there celebrating Ramadan, I hope you are having a great time, even though during the day you can't eat anything because you are fasting. So a lot of people now celebrating that. And of course in the morning you will have the call to prayer. So you have to go along to the mosque maybe as the sun rises so you can have something to eat. And then you have to say your prayers and then you can have something to eat, but you have to make sure you don't eat during the day. You can't. You have to fast.
Lent is coinciding, isn't it, at the moment? So you've got a Christian period of time when you're supposed to abstain from something.
Avoid.
Until Easter and Ramadan at the same time. So they're sort of, which is unusual. It doesn't happen very often, but they're sort of coinciding a bit this year. I've just we've got Patrick Malval on. And Patrick, it's your day today. It's St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
So congratulations to you. And we celebrate your day.
Yes. So it's not just St. Patrick's Day, it's also Patrick's Day as well. So thank you for joining us, Patrick.
Patrick from Ouse in France.
In France.
So welcome to you.
By the way, we are not meeting in France this year, but we are possibly going to be meeting somewhere else. Another thing to look forward to. More details about that coming later as well. Not today, but later in the future. By the way, I think it's quite interesting because Ramadan is here. I wonder if people have on their phone, if they have an alarm that sounds like the call to prayer. So you know the call to prayer, quite often you have those little things at the top of the mosque. Is it a minuet or minette? Minette. And they normally call people to prayer. So I wonder if anyone's done that yet. If anyone has an alarm on their phone that sounds exactly the same as the call to prayer. I remember when we were in Malaysia, every morning at around about 6:30 every morning, that there was a mosque at the back of the hotel, and they would call everyone to prayer every morning. It actually became my alarm clock in the morning. So it's
I had an interesting discussion with a Muslim colleague of mine at work the other day. They were talking about, and he was telling me that different Muslim sects disagree on when Ramadan actually starts and stops.
Oh.
So it can vary by a couple of days here and there, depending on which Muslim sect you belong to.
But that's but it's a bit like Orthodox Christians and non-Orthodox, because all of the celebrations fall on different days because they all have their own different point of view. So it is always interesting with religions that they all have their own interpretation or maybe their own festivals or their own ways of doing it. So in most religions you often find there is more than one group involved in that overall general religion. So I always find that quite interesting. Today, by the way, Mr. Steve, we are talking about mistakes, getting things wrong.
Oh, well, yeah, you started me off with a good mistake, Mr. Duncan. So, yeah, there we go.
Oh, what's that?
With the microphone.
Oh, I see. Yes, I did, didn't I?
Oh, you did that deliberately, didn't you?
No, I wish I could say that I did that deliberately.
because the theme of today's show is mistakes.
If only, you know what? I could have covered that mistake by pretending to have done it on purpose, but I didn't. So I will put my hand on my heart and my other hand on my pancreas and say that was a genuine mistake. It really was a mistake, definitely. Unfortunately. So we are talking about making mistakes, and I think people sometimes find it very difficult to admit to making mistakes. So I often find that quite fascinating. Why do human beings find it so hard to actually admit that they got something wrong or they made a mistake? What do you think, Steve?
I think probably people see it as a sign of weakness if you admit mistakes. And it's like apologising. Some people just won't apologise. It's there. Some leaders won't. I've heard some people say that if I make a mistake, I will never apologise because they see it as a sign of weakness to apologise. That's
it. Well, it's more admitting rather than apologising. So actually, to say to someone, I made a mistake, I got it wrong, and it does seem to be a really hard thing to do. And I think you're right, Steve. I think it is. I think we see it as a sign of weakness, or maybe that person, the other person, might view you less as less of a person because you made a mistake.
Particularly it must be more difficult if you are, say, a boss at a big firm, some kind of leadership figure, and you make a mistake because you would be worried that your subordinates or your employees will lose confidence in you. And interestingly enough, I like following certain key people in the financial world, one of them being Ken Fisher in America. And he was, he's been doing this for decades. He's in his 70s now. So presumably he's sort of mellowing in his old age. Maybe he always was quite modest. I think he's quite a modest person. But anyway, he admitted that even if you are the best investor in the world, the best person who's ever invested or whatever with stocks and shares, you will still be wrong about 30% of the time. So you've got to be prepared to make mistakes and to admit to them. Because it doesn't matter how good you are, everyone is going to make mistakes. You can't be good at everything all the time.
No, I agree.
What separates people, big successes from people who aren't so successful, is the fact that they all make mistakes, but they probably just make only slightly fewer, and then they don't give up when they do make their mistakes. They carry on anyway. But yes, you just have to accept that you will make mistakes.
Yes. And I don't know if you saw it yesterday, Steve, but Elon Musk has launched another Starship. And this one was successful. In other words, it didn't blow up. But I think that's a very good example of being willing to make mistakes or get things wrong. So he will probably launch maybe 2 or 3 rockets and they will blow up, or maybe they will crash, or something will go wrong. But he won't stop. He just carries on. And I think that's one of the things that we find difficult. If other people see us, or maybe they see you or me making a mistake, we might feel as if the things we do won't be taken seriously. You might lose some credibility. But I think sometimes if you make a mistake or get something wrong, you carry on. You continue.
As Christina says here, we are only human, born to make mistakes, and that brings up a certain phrase. To err is human. I don't know who came up with that particular phrase, but
yes.
Yeah.
Well, to err is to make a mistake. I think that's where we get the word error from. To
Yes.
err is to make a mistake. And of course, the whole of the proverb is to err is human, to forgive is divine.
I think the important thing is that if you are doing something, embarking on some kind of risky venture, for example, then you've always got to have, you don't want to bet everything on a particular outcome. You always want to have some kind of fallback plan that means that you won't be wiped out if you take a particular risk in life. And of course, like with Elon Musk, he's got, he doesn't put all his money into one rocket in the hope that takes off and is successful.
Yes.
He's got enough money left over for another rocket and another rocket.
Mm.
And I think that's the important thing when we're making decisions in life, that we don't bet everything on
Yes.
one spin of the turn of the dice. So to speak.
Don't put all of your eggs into one basket.
Yes.
Because you might drop the basket and then all of your eggs will be broken. They will all be destroyed. So yes, it can. I think it's a very good way of looking at life generally. So we all make mistakes. I made a mistake today already. As soon as Mr. Steve appeared, I made a mistake. I had the microphone in the wrong socket, in the wrong hole. But that's what happens sometimes. And I think there are many reasons why we make mistakes. Sometimes we just say things without thinking. So I think that is a good example of making a mistake. You just open your mouth and say something, and maybe you don't know all the facts. Maybe you don't know everything about that subject. And so you say something and then you realise it's wrong. You've made a mistake.
Inaki points out that economists are constantly making bad predictions in their forecast for the economy. The same with the weather, says Christina. Yes, there are certain things which, as you move forward in time to make a prediction, because there are so many variables, you can only make an accurate prediction, like with the weather and the economy. There are so many different factors involved in what an outcome could be in, say, 6 months' time. You can't predict, like with the weather, you can't predict really more than about sort of a week or 2 weeks ahead. It's very difficult because there are so many variables. A low pressure that might be coming towards the country just might slightly go a few degrees one way, and then by the time it reaches you, it's missed you altogether.
I have to say,
the same with the economy.
I find it interesting how they plan or plot the weather as it approaches. So normally they use a computer and they take all of the records from the past 70 or maybe 100 years and they put it through a computer, and the computer will then decide what the most likely weather event will be if that particular thing happens. So I always find that quite an interesting thing. And you are right, Steve. Economists, people who say they know what the stock market is going to do next, don't know. They can only guess, can't they?
They can only get, well, yes, it's like with the economy, because you can't take, it's very difficult to factor in all the different things that could impact an economy and then predict what's going to happen, say, a year in advance.
Yes.
I mean, obviously the unforeseen events come along, but even the foreseen events, the ones that you can see, there's no way to see how they're actually going to shift subtly.
That's a very good word as well, to foresee. Foresee means to be able to see what's going to happen next, almost as if you can see into the future, foreseeing the future. But with many things, even our day-to-day lives, when you think about it, Steve, you might wake up in the morning, get out of bed and think, oh, everything's okay, I'm going to have a great day, but something could go wrong, something could happen, and you have absolutely no idea that thing is going to happen. So I always find that slightly fascinating, but also a little bit worrying at the same time. So you never know, do you, what's going to happen during the day for every individual on the planet. We don't really know. We can guess from past experience, but we don't really know. And I think if you are putting yourself in a position, Steve, where you say that you can forecast things, even then, I think there is always quite a margin or maybe a lot of space where you can make mistakes or errors. Because that is today's theme. We are talking about making mistakes. Mr. Steve, sometimes I think Mr. Steve might make mistakes. I know you are perfect, Steve, in every way. When I see you, I think there is a perfect person. But even Steve makes mistakes sometimes. Yes, I know you can't believe it, but it happens. And I know I make mistakes. Last week I made 2 mistakes on the live stream, didn't I? I got the capital of Haiti wrong. I said what did I say now? It's Port-au-Prince. Port-au-Prince is the capital of Haiti. And also I couldn't remember the Civil War, the American Civil War, who was actually fighting who. I couldn't remember the names. Anyway, I cleared all of that earlier. I cleared it all up. So if you do make a mistake, Steve, it is possible to repair the mistake, isn't it?
That's the thing. That's the thing, Mr. Duncan. Most things we do are not irreversible. So you can, you can apply for a job and go for a job, and you look up the company and it seems okay, but then when you never quite know, do you, what a company is really like to work for until you do. But if you do, and you think, I don't like this company, I was wrong about that, it's not an irreversible decision. You can apply and go for another job. Whereas getting married, as Edith has pointed out, my marriage was a mistake, he said. Probably joking. But certain things are, to reverse a marriage is possible, of course. You can get divorced.
Yes.
But it's going to be a very stressful experience, a very upsetting experience. So you've really got to be sure if you're going to marry somebody. And obviously we did that last year, coming up for our anniversary.
Still
people not do. Sure, Mr. Duncan, whether I made a big mistake.
But some people do make that mistake. So that is, even though we are joking about that, it is a mistake sometimes people make. They meet another person, they fall in love, or at least they think they fall in love, and then they get married, and then they realise that maybe it wasn't such a good idea getting married. So it, even though sometimes people joke about that, it can actually happen where you marry the wrong person, and then you realise it. You suddenly realise, I think I've made a mistake. I've made a big mistake. I've married the wrong person. So it can happen. I think so.
Sometimes, though, and I'm a bit like this, if you're trying to make a decision about something, you're trying to weigh up a decision and about something, and you might get all your sort of evidence or your research about what you want to do, but sometimes you can do it too much. You get sort of paralysis by analysis, as they call it, or they used to call it at work. You can do too much research about something, and then you become indecisive. You can't actually make a decision. Some people make. I used to be absolutely aghast. There's a good word for you, Mr. Duncan. Aghast, which is sort of just can't believe something, that somebody would do something like this. So when I used to work, I've always worked for a company that give you a company car, because I'm in sales. If you're in sales, you expect to get a company car. So whenever I would, every 3 or 4 years, depending on the lease, you choose a new one. And I would go on test drives. I would go to the garages. I would do all this, what is the seat comfortable? Is the car nice to drive? Because I've got to live with it for 3 years.
So all of the things that you think you need, you need to check every single one of those things.
Well, I would do that. Yes, that's what I would do. I'd go and test drive 3 or 4 cars to make sure. But some people at work, they wouldn't do that at all. They would just look at the list and just say, "Oh, I'll have that one."
Yeah.
And
maybe they just like the design of it or the look of it.
That's it. They've looked at the car, they've looked at the design of it, and they thought, "Well, I want that one," just based on the design, the exterior design.
Nothing else.
Nothing else. And I used to have 2 or 3 colleagues that would do that. I'm not being sexist here, but usually they were women. Because they would look at a car in a picture and say, "Oh, that's a nice looking car, I'll have that one." And then when they get it, they say, "Oh, it's a bit uncomfortable." Or they didn't take account of the fact that it comes with 20-inch wheels and feels every bump. Or there was no aircon on it or something like that. Whereas I would go into, probably they would say I spent far too much time doing it.
Yes.
But
well, that's it, isn't it? That you can be too lazy and not bother and just buy something on impulse without thinking or checking, and then we can go to the other extreme, like Mr. Steve, who will go through every tiny detail to make sure it is all perfect.
I couldn't buy a fridge. I couldn't buy anything without checking it against all its other models, competitors. I just would find that quite stressful. But, I mean, it's a stressful process doing it, but I do feel as though I often make the right decision and don't make mistakes because I do a lot of research. But that research itself is very time-consuming and often stressful.
So that's what we're looking at today, by the way. We're looking at making mistakes, getting things wrong, the way in which we can sometimes, not always, because we don't always make mistakes, but sometimes we can. We're looking at that. Also, we are going to look at something really disgusting later on, Steve.
I've just been acquainted with looking like Lenin.
Actually,
I should grow a beard, you see.
Isn't that strange? If you had the little beard, the little goatee, you would look just like Lenin. Or are you sure they didn't mean John Lennon?
No, definitely.
I always get them confused. Anyway, Steve, we've got to move on.
Right.
We are looking at something disgusting a little bit later on. Something that you often see in this country at a certain time of year, or if you have a certain type of person with a particular job coming to your house. I wonder if Mr. Steve can guess what it is. We are talking about that as well. Right after we take a break, and as I mentioned earlier, a lot of flags that are displayed in various countries to represent their nationality, they all seem to have the colour red. Take a look now and see if you can spot how many flags have the colour red, because it's time for Flags of the World. Flags of the world. And yes, you see, I was right. There are many flags around the world that have the colour red. I don't know why red is so popular, but it is very interesting. English Addict is with you, and of course he is here as well. Mr. Steve is also here on the live chat. It's very nice to have you here, Mr. Steve.
I must say, I did quite like my favourite colour is green, and the Saudi flag is completely green. So that's probably my favourite flag, because green is my favourite colour.
But it is true, isn't it? Many flags have the colour red.
I would have thought the Saudi flag would have been black.
I can think
royal, but
I can think of at least 5 straight away. 5 flags: Japan, Turkey, China, the UK. Of course, we have red, and of course England. So England and the United Kingdom both have red in their flags.
The Chinese flag is virtually entirely red.
Yeah, that's it.
But, that's it. If they want red, go with red.
That's it. The stars, the yellow stars and the red background. But it is very interesting, isn't it? I think it's interesting anyway. Another interesting thing to talk about, Mr. Steve, something really disgusting I'm going to show you now. So here is a warning. I have to put this warning on. I have been told by YouTube, if I'm going to show this thing, that I have to put a warning everyone, this thing you are about to see is really, really disgusting. It might put you off your meal. It is a thing we see very often here in the UK, Mr. Steve. Maybe if you are walking down the road, you might see some builders, or maybe some people repairing the roads, for example, some workmen. And they are working very hard, they are busy, and they might be bending down.
Oh, Mr. Duncan. I think I know what you're going to show. It's the sight that nobody wants to see.
No.
Particularly if... Because usually... you go on then, you show it, Mr.
But
Duncan.
I'm wondering, Steve, whether this happens elsewhere around the world, or is it only a thing that happens here in Britain? Maybe, of course, you have someone come around to your house to repair something in the kitchen. I know we had someone come a couple of years ago to repair our boiler, and he had this problem, and I'm going to show you it right now. So if you are easily offended, then please look away now. So there it is, the workman bum. Now you can see that I've covered the offending part of the picture, but I'm going to take that away. I'm going to take the censor away very briefly, just to show you what I'm on about.
Ooh.
So you have to be very quick. You might have to put your video on pause. So here it is. So this is what I'm talking about when we talk about the workman bum, or we sometimes call it the workman crack as well, for various reasons. So here we go. Only very briefly. It's going to be on the screen briefly, so you might have to hit the pause button.
Cover your eyes.
Here it is. This is the workman bum. This is something you will often see in the UK when a man is working outdoors or in the garden, or maybe he's repairing your boiler. Any second now. Did you see it? It was there. Did you see it?
Disgusting.
I think they missed it. Okay, just one more time. One more time. Ready?
Look away.
There it is. Did you see it? No, you didn't see it. I can't believe it. Okay, don't look directly into it. So it's a bit like the sun. You never look directly at the sun. You never look directly at a workman when his trousers are coming down. So one more time. Now, that's it. That's all you're getting. I can't show you again because YouTube will come round and they will cut my wire.
See, I wouldn't mind, but usually they're the type of builder that I wouldn't find attractive. They
Yeah,
usually.
I don't think
you know.
anyone finds it attractive.
It's
Even if it looks attractive, you don't really want to look at it in the street.
It's usually let's be very frank about this.
I know what you're going to say, Steve.
Let's just say they are people who are portly, would I say?
See, I'm
maybe
gonna
overweight.
Say, I disagree with you. I've seen people who are not fat. They bend over and their trousers come down at the back. But it's quite often workmen in the street. Maybe they are repairing the road and they're bending down, they're busy, and then slowly their trousers will come down. But you will see just a little bit.
It's disgusting. It really is. We saw it at a theatre.
Does it only happen here, though? I want to know, does it happen in other countries, or is this a British thing?
Yes, is this a British thing, or are men in other countries more modest and more able to keep their trousers up? But we actually went to a theatre to watch a friend of ours in a show, and the man in front of us got up or was moving around, and it was just disgusting.
Yeah.
I mean, surely you know.
I remember that.
Surely you know if your trousers are coming down.
I remember
and,
that.
I don't know why that happens.
Steve, I remember that. I remember us looking at each other and we didn't say anything, but we just looked at each other with a disgusted look, because this guy got up and he was really quite large, but his trousers had come all the way down. I mean, this that's on the screen now, that was nothing to what we saw that night in the Grand Theatre. We got the whole thing.
It was disgusting, actually, and it should be an imprisonable offence.
Apparently. Everyone is saying it's British.
It's a British thing, says Olga. It is traumatic. Lewis, it's disgusting, says Christina. It's the plumber's neckline, says Anna.
Oh.
Anna White. Yes, plumbers. Yeah, exactly. They're bending down in your sink, and for some reason
Under the sink.
Yeah, it is. Mind you, Beatrice says in Argentina there are lots of workers like that as well. So it's over in Argentina. So it's not just a British thing, says Beatrice. Maybe, I think probably, I don't know, why are the trousers so loose that they would come down? Maybe if you're bending down under a sink, you've got to undo your button to make it comfortable.
See, I think that is it. Maybe this is just because the British man, the British workman, works twice as hard as everyone else, and maybe that's it. His clothes just keep coming off because he's being so energetic with his work. But
yes, Olga says, when I visited the UK a few years ago, I saw that all around most of the young men didn't try to keep their trousers in place. Well, that is true. That is a different thing, Olga. So young men, quite often now, the trend is to have your trousers half down, showing your underwear.
Yes, but at least they have underwear hiding everything. But this is just full on. This is like staring into the sun. And
I mean,
apparently, Steve,
Yes.
apparently in Spanish they call it the piggy bank.
Oh, right.
I think
Yes.
that's brilliant. Because
Regina.
it looks like you could put a coin in the slot.
Oh, it's disgusting.
Oh, I see. I went there. Yes, it's like a piggy bank. I love that. You have just won today's live stream. That's it. We can't make this any better. You've won. That's it. That's well done. Thank you very much. So apparently in Spanish they call it the piggy bank because you can put a coin in the slot.
Regina says, I work in a workshop and it's very common for people with a bulky body. Yes, that's it. I think when you get to a certain weight, it's very difficult for the trousers to stay on. I think you have to get. I don't know. But yeah, it's it's not something we like to see.
I'm not
I mean,
ju-
I don't mind it if the person turns around and they're an Adonis.
Yes.
I probably wouldn't complain.
Yes,
But
then-
if they're sort of, as Regina puts it, people with
sorry?
a bulky body.
Oh,
Well, mind you, some people might find that. Is anyone watching us today who finds that sexy?
well, I'm not sure. Anyway, that's not a way I want to go. But I'm just wondering whether it just happens here in the UK, because I don't think I've ever seen it done anywhere else. All my years in China, I never saw anyone in China doing it. And that's the thing, you see. I was trying to work out whether this phenomenon is actually a thing that only happens here, and apparently it doesn't. It happens in other places as well. So I think that's
It's mainly a builder and a workman thing.
I think so. So I think we've cleared that up, as it were. And men, for all men watching, always check that your trousers are pulled right up, so we don't have to look at this anymore.
We don't want to. Oh, I'm not looking, Mr. Duncan.
It's all right.
I
it's
feel
gone.
sick.
So that's it. I think we've nailed that. I think we've smashed it, don't you?
Yep, I think so, Mr. Duncan. But yeah,
It's English Addict, by the way, for those wondering what the hell is this. What am I watching now on my internet device? Well, this is English Addict. Every Sunday, by the way, we come here, and if you could give me a like, that would be ever so nice, and I will have a smile on my face for the rest of the day.
yes,
will.
it helps Mr. Duncan's channel be seen far and wide, which is what Mr. Duncan needs.
What happened to your loaf this morning? Mr. Steve made a hot cross loaf, a big loaf with spice and fruit, but I could smell something burning earlier, and I went into the kitchen and it did smell like bread was on fire.
I don't know what's gone wrong with it. Maybe I accidentally put it onto the wrong setting.
So you might say, Steve, that you made a mistake.
I think the machine made a mistake. I don't think it was me.
You know what they say? A bad workman always blames his tools. So if a person who is making something or constructing something, if they make a mistake, they will always blame the tool that they are using, not themselves. So a bad workman always blames their tools. So that's what we're talking about today, Mr. Steve. It's almost as if I prepared that, but I hadn't. That was all spontaneous. So here we go, Steve. We are looking at words and phrases connected to making a mistake or having a problem. Maybe you have an accident, maybe something you do, but it's incorrect, it's not right, it is wrong. And that is what we are looking at today, getting it wrong. When a person gets something wrong, there are many words, many phrases that we can use in English when we are talking about making a mistake. As I said earlier, to make a mistake is human. It is something we all do. I do it, you do it. I would imagine by the end of today, Steve, everyone watching at the moment will make a mistake. I think so.
Yeah, well, we'll probably make mistakes with some of the words, some of the pronunciations, some of our explanations. There may be something wrong there. There may be a mistake, but, you know.
Dorothy. Hello, Dorothy, by the way. I'm a friend of you, I think. The back is the butt, and the front is the paunch. Oh, I see. Yes, at the front. Yes, the round part at the front, I suppose, is the paunch, when we're talking about a man who's got a big belly. To make a mistake, you are getting it wrong. When we make a mistake, it means you are taking the wrong step, choice, or maybe the thing you are doing, a certain action, is wrong. So when you look at it, mistake, the word itself, shows that you are doing something wrong. So miss means quite often wrong. Take is the attempt at doing it. So I think that's quite interesting. A simple word, mistake, but with a big meaning, which is when a person does something that they did not intend to do. They got it wrong. To make an error, Mr. Steve.
Yeah.
Error. Now, do you think, Steve, with all of our modern technology, do you think it is possible for computers to make a mistake?
Well, I think with this, everyone's talking about AI, aren't they? And sort of things like this Chat GTP or whatever it is. Then they can make mistakes, can't they? But I don't think a computer can't make a mistake with a calculation, things like that. Though it's difficult. But to make an error, there's various ways of putting that. You can make an error of judgment. You can make an error in your grammar, can't you? I don't know if you're going to go through ways of using that. Yes, Edith, you can make mistakes with grammar. You can make errors with grammar. These words are sort of interchangeable, aren't they, in sentences?
Vitas puts 404. I know what you did there. People who are into computers will know exactly what that means. Thank you.
I don't. So
thank you, Vitas. That is very clever. I have to say, I am very impressed with your that comment. I think that's brilliant. So yes, sometimes computers can make mistakes, but quite often there is a human being behind that mistake. So a computer can't just go off and do something and make a mistake, because quite often there is a human being somewhere programming that computer. So quite often when people say there was a computer error, what they really mean is there was a human who was programming the computer. They made a mistake.
Yes.
So I don't think it's possible for computers to genuinely make a mistake. I think the human being programming or controlling the computer makes the mistake.
Shilby Mahmood points this out. Computers are made by humans, so they can make mistakes. They're only as good as the information that go into them. If the information that goes in is wrong, the computer's not making judgments. It's not making emotional decisions. It's acting on the information that's been put into it.
That's it.
So if the information is wrong, then it will make a mistake, but it's not the computer's fault.
So the error, a person makes an error. To err, E-double-R, is to make a mistake. You err. You make a mistake, hence the word error. The error is to err, to make a mistake. To make a faux pas, Mr. Steve. Now this is a French word, but it is also often used in English, isn't it?
Yes, if you make a faux pas, it means you often say something that's inappropriate for the company that you're in. You make a mistake when you say something. Isn't that right, Mr. Duncan?
That's right, yes. So to make a mistake can also be described as a faux pas. Maybe you are going to a special occasion, maybe a big dinner, maybe a special party, and you go there, but you are wearing the wrong type of clothing. So they are all dressed in their smart clothes, but you go in fancy dress. You are dressed as Napoleon, and you turn up to the party and everyone else is dressed in their black suit and tie, and they're all looking very smart, but you are standing there dressed as Napoleon. You might say that is a faux pas. It is a mistake,
particularly if it upsets other people. You might call somebody by the wrong name in a quite a public way. or you might say that they're if you're giving a speech, you might give out some wrong information about somebody and upset them and other people as well. So yeah, it's a faux pas. I mean, I did that. I went to a dinner, a reception once that was, as we call it in the UK, a black tie event. And what that means is that you have to wear a dinner jacket with a black bow tie, a formal sort of dinner. And I didn't get the information to say that you had to wear a dinner jacket, and I just turned up in a shirt and trousers, and I was the only one there. So that was a faux pas. That was, I don't know what that means literally in French. Perhaps somebody will tell us.
In French, well, I can tell you now. It means false step.
False step.
If you make a false step, it means you make a faux pas, a false step. So that's what it means, to do something wrong. So you might describe it as maybe a fall or trip. So your false step is when you stumble. And you might also say that when you stumble, you are also getting something wrong. So I think that's how that ties into that word.
It's usually sort of conversation, isn't it? You say something and you upset somebody because you've said something. And afterwards you might say, oh, I made a bit of a faux pas there. You might be, I don't know, somebody, the boss might come, you might be speaking to your boss. You might be a room full of people and you go up to your boss and make an inappropriate remark, maybe about the way they're dressed or a funny joke. You think it's a funny joke, but in fact it turns out it's quite offensive for some reason.
You can actually, can I just say, you can actually describe that as a social faux pas.
Yes.
So we will actually say that thing is very specific, a social faux pas. Anyway, we've got to move on. We've got loads of these to look at, by the way. There are so many. You are getting it wrong, and this is an expression we use quite often in English, in British English. So here we will often say that we've made a cock-up. If you make a cock-up, it means you make a mistake. You've got something wrong. You make a cock-up. You make a mistake. And we often use this, don't we, in British English, Steve?
Yes.
So maybe a small mistake. So a small thing that's gone wrong, or maybe something that hasn't quite gone right, you might say that you've made a cock-up. For example, Mr. Steve made a cock-up when he set the bread maker to start baking the bread, because Mr. Steve pressed the wrong button, I think, and that's why it came out a little bit burnt.
But you could be doing a presentation to a group of people and it all goes wrong. And you're fumbling your words, you can't answer their questions and you just wish it would end. Then afterwards you come off and say, oh, God, I made a right cock-up of that. So maybe you didn't prepare well enough. We've all had that feeling maybe when you've done a presentation, it just hasn't gone well. And it all went wrong. It was embarrassing, probably because you didn't prepare enough. And then you can say, well, I cocked that up completely.
Yes. What a cock-up.
Yes.
The whole thing went wrong. It was a complete cock-up. So that is one thing we often say in British English. I don't think it's used in American English because they might get the wrong idea. To do something. So that should say, see, I've made a mistake there. Can you see? So that should say to do something incorrectly. But I've put to something. So you see, there is a mistake. I made that mistake because I was typing too fast. And sometimes that happens when you are typing fast. Your brain will press the wrong keys. So there is a very good example right there of getting something wrong. To do something incorrectly, like that there. So that is incorrect.
That's a bit of a cock-up, Mr. Duncan.
Yeah, I made a cock-up. I made a mistake.
Only a minor one. See, this phrase cock-up, people are... Nitram is sort of asking, where does this come from? Where does this word come from? I'm not quite sure. But I don't think it means what you think it means.
No, because of course that particular word has many connotations.
So it's a bit of a, not an offensive word, but it's suddenly you wouldn't use that phrase in polite English. It could be seen as a little, because it's got the word. Yes.
Anyway, you don't need to.
But I'm just explaining it to people in case they want to use that.
This particular phrase is not offensive, but some people might take it the wrong way. Anyway, moving on.
It is. It can be. But
Okay, Steve.
I've made a mistake would be a more polite way of saying it.
To do something in error. Now that might sound odd as its grammar, but to do something in error is to do something by mistake. You did it in error. You did it by mistake. So it is possible to put that into a short phrase. Something in error has been done by mistake. I did not intend for that to happen. It was done in error. Maybe you send some cards to your friends and relatives at Christmas, and maybe you put the wrong name on the card, and instead of sending it to Julie, you send it to Jennifer. So Julie gets the card, but it says Jennifer inside, and that might be something you do in error. It is something that you've done by mistake. So I find some of these phrases quite interesting. Here we go. Mr. Steve, quite often when we decide to do something, we might make a plan. Would you say?
Yes.
But when something does not go right, when something goes wrong, we can say that something did not go to plan. It did not go as expected.
Yes. So you made a presentation and it all went wrong, and you can say that didn't go according to plan, which would be a nice way of saying it was a cock-up.
Yes. I made a mistake. I got it wrong. It did not go to plan. It didn't go the way I thought it would. Maybe you are planning a bank robbery and you have it all planned out, and you know that you can get away with all of the money and no one will know that you did it or who did it. But there might be some problems as you are doing that thing, as you are carrying out the bank robbery. Things might happen that you were not expecting. You can say that did not go to plan. It did not go as it should. It did not go as expected. It went wrong, basically. Something can go wrong. Now, this can be used in many, many ways, this phrase, Steve. If something goes wrong, you can use it to describe maybe a situation that did not go the way you intended. It did not go to plan. You can say that it went wrong, or it might go wrong.
Yes, Mr. Duncan. I didn't know you were.
I don't know. So, Steve, I love watching your face. Sometimes I am mesmerised by Mr. Steve's face because I have it right in front of me here on the screen in super high definition. It looks amazing. I wish you could see.
Yes, it's just something's gone wrong. To go wrong. It's you can use that in the past, the present. The present state, yes.
Yes, or the future. So normally for the future. It might go wrong in the future. Or in the past, you can say it went wrong in the past. But of course, we can also use this for things that are types of technology. Technology can go wrong. It means it stops functioning or it doesn't work in the way it's supposed to. So something might go wrong. You can say that your computer went wrong. It stopped working. There was a problem with it. So we can say that if something goes wrong, it means a mistake was made, something did not go as planned, or something has stopped working. It does not function in the way it is supposed to. You might be wrong, to be wrong, to be incorrect. So correct means right. You've done it the right way. The opposite, of course, is incorrect. Something is wrong. Oh, now this is interesting because a wrong thing can also be something illegal. So you do something wrong can mean a mistake, but also if you do something wrong, it means you are doing something illegal, Mr. Steve.
Yes, you might go up, drive the wrong way up a wrong way street, which is against the law. And yes, you could say, oh, I did a wrong thing, but that also would be illegal. You might rob a bank, and that's a wrong thing, but it's also illegal. You might get into a fight with somebody and hit them in a bar or in a pub, and it's wrong, but it's also illegal.
Yes. So in that sense, something that is wrong is something that should not be done, or it should not happen.
Yeah, because the police will come along. Something
that's forbidden is wrong, a wrong thing, something illegal. So think of anything that is against the law, and you can say that it is wrong. You might have to say, you might have to own up, you might have to admit that you made a mistake. And the simplest way, Mr. Steve, is to simply say, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. A wrong thing or something illegal. So this is an interesting phrase because you can say this if you did something wrong, if you made a mistake, or if you did something illegal. So maybe in your past, Mr. Steve, maybe you did something bad when you were younger. You might say, well, when I was young, I did make some mistakes. So that can mean that you did something maybe you should not have done. Maybe something illegal, maybe something naughty. You did something wrong. Maybe you went to prison for it. You might say that you paid for your mistake. You had to serve time in prison, Mr. Steve, because of your mistake.
Yes, you would. I mean, in that situation, if you went to prison for something, you wouldn't just say, I made a mistake. That would be too mild a way to put it.
Yes, but generally.
You would say, yes, you would say, I made a big mistake. You could say, oh, I married that particular person. I made a big mistake. Or I made a... Yeah, if it's a mistake, but it's a big mistake, you just say it's a big mistake.
But something wrong is not necessarily illegal. And, of course, the other way around, you can say that as well. So it can depend on the context, I think.
Yes, and Nitram says being illegal doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. Yeah, it depends on how you view the law. Yes. Inaki says the lyrics from a Blondie song, Don't Get Me Wrong. I remember that song. What does that mean in that context?
But it's not Blondie, by the way. It's the Pretenders.
Oh, the Pretenders. It's the
Yes.
Pretenders Anarchy,
Yes.
apparently.
Don't get me wrong.
I don't know, because I don't know the rest of the lyrics. But if you say to somebody, "Oh, don't get me wrong," you what you're saying to them is, "Oh, don't misunderstand what I'm saying."
Mm.
So I think maybe that's what it means in that song. Don't get me wrong. Oh no, don't get me wrong. Because you might say something and somebody might say something back, and then you suddenly realise that they don't understand
Yes.
the meaning of what you're saying.
Yes.
And you say, "Oh, don't get me wrong. I don't mean that. What I mean is," and then you will correct it.
Please don't misunderstand me.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, we might be having a conversation with somebody, and they think that you don't think. I don't know. I can't think of a good example off the top of my head, but you might.
Well, you might say to someone that you like them. I like you, but the other person might get a bit worried or nervous. No, please don't get me wrong. No, it's okay. I don't mean anything strange or weird. I like you as a person, as a friend, nothing else. So please don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Or maybe if you are voicing your opinion about something, maybe something you feel. So please don't get me wrong. So I want to tell you how I feel, but please don't get me wrong. Don't misunderstand what I'm going to say. Maybe a person. Maybe you see someone doing something. Maybe they are not doing it very well. Maybe they are making a terrible job of that thing. They are not doing it as well as they should or could. You might say that you are doing it wrong.
Giovanni gives a good explanation of that as well. So thanks for that. To cheat is wrong, says Patrick. Yes, you can cheat in a game of cards. You can cheat your married partner.
Oh.
And you could say, "Oh, that's wrong."
Mm.
Sometimes you don't know whether something's right or wrong, and you might have to ask opinion.
So you might tell someone that they are doing it the wrong way. And there is nothing more annoying than that, is there, Steve? When you're doing something and another person is standing behind you or nearby and they say, you don't do it like that. You're doing it wrong. And there's nothing more annoying when another person is telling you how to do something. I'm not saying that there's anyone here that does that. There's no one here in this room, whoever does that, whoever says, "No, you don't do it like that. You do it. No, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it all wrong." You might also say that something is a complete mess. So when we say mess, we mean something is disorganized or untidy. But of course, if we say that something is a complete mess, we can also say that something has just gone wrong. Oh, I tried to sing this song in front of the audience, but it was a complete mess. I got it wrong. The thing went badly, or it was done in the wrong way.
That meeting was a complete mess. Yeah. Again, there's lots of these words you can use interchangeably.
Here's another one, Steve. There are so...
Say it, Mr. Duncan, say it. Yeah, something went badly wrong. We don't know where that expression comes from, or at least I don't.
It went tits up. This is British English we are talking about here. So if something went badly or if something went wrong, we often say it went tits up. And I think it yes, I think it has something to do with if you fall over if you fall over, then this here will go up as you fall. So I think maybe that's where that comes from. So we use that in British English. It is part of English. I'm not being rude. It is part of the English language.
Yes, because tits, let's explain that, is
breasts.
a slang word for women's breasts.
Yes.
So the implication is that if you were to fall over, it means something's gone wrong. It's just a crude way of saying something's gone wrong.
Yes.
That all went tits up, didn't it?
Yes.
You know, again, it could be a meeting and there were arguments took place and it didn't go according to plan. Something didn't go according to plan.
I don't think that is necessarily related to women. So I think it's anything. So it's not just women, but also men. Of course, we don't have breasts as such, but we still have something there. So yeah, so it's not. I don't think it's necessarily related to women, but all things.
When you use phrases like "what a cock up" or "it went tits up," it's a way of adding a lot sort of emotion into what you're saying instead of just saying, "Oh, that went a bit wrong." There's no real emotion in that. But if you say, "God, that went tits up," or "that was a cock up," you're really putting emotion into what you're saying then.
Yes.
And
it is a great way of expressing that.
It's a great way of expressing something in a sort of emotional way when you use those phrases for something going wrong. By the way, the live chat is not at all concentrating on what we're saying, but never mind.
Well, it's okay. Well, yes, but some people are chatting and some people are listening to us. Following the wrong method or the incorrect way of doing something is getting it wrong. So the method, when we talk about method, we are talking about the standard way of doing something. So if you do the wrong thing or you do something in the wrong way, it means you are not following the method. You're not doing it in the right way. You are not doing it in the correct way. You are doing it wrong.
Yes, by the way, Christina, you can use that phrase as well to describe as another way to say things have gone wrong.
Of course, when we're going in a certain direction. So movement. So this is something we haven't even mentioned yet. Movement. You can go the wrong way. You can go the wrong way. So maybe if you are actually driving a car, going down the road, you might go the wrong way. You might take the wrong turn. However, we can also use that figuratively as well. Figurative. So not literally, but you can also go the wrong way. A person who starts to do things that are wrong or maybe illegal. You go the wrong way.
Or the wrong path.
Sorry, sir. Sorry, Mr. Steve.
Yes, or taking the wrong path in life. Sometimes you might get involved with the wrong people. Your parents might say, "I don't want you to see that person. They'll send you the wrong way, or they'll set you on the wrong path."
Yes.
People that maybe are criminals or take drugs or something like that.
So you make a mistake, you do something wrong, you take the wrong turn. So maybe if you're driving a car, you take the wrong turn, you go the wrong way. Or, of course, figuratively in your life, you do something that might cause problems later. You are physically doing something in your life, and your life will take the wrong turn. You will suddenly go down a very dark road.
Can we also say FUBAR, F-U-B-A-R, says Shibley. Not sure what that word is. FUBAR, Foobar. Is that a word, Mr. Duncan?
I don't recognise the word. I think it might be a word used in another language, but no, I'm not sure. Maybe it's spelt incorrectly. I don't know. Mr. Steve, when something goes wrong, we might say, there is a lovely expression that we use in English. We might say that something goes pear-shaped. Something goes pear-shaped. It means it goes wrong. It is to go wrong. You make a mistake. Something was unsuccessful. We wanted to do it this way, but unfortunately it went pear-shaped.
That all went pear-shaped. Yes,
Yeah.
it just means, again, you could use that. I keep using this example of a meeting, with customers or at work. And again, it doesn't go how you wanted it to. You were nervous, you were stuttering on your words, you came out with some wrong information, probably because you hadn't prepared properly, or something unexpected happens. And you can say, that went pear-shaped. Don't know where that expression comes from, but it's sort of something, something's just sort of not gone the way you want it to.
Maybe it refers to the circle. So a circle would be perfect.
It might be.
But if something goes pear-shaped, suddenly the circle has become distorted.
It's no longer perfect.
Yes. It did not
it's
go
all
well.
Sort of dropped.
It went pear-shaped.
The pear looks like all the weight's at the bottom,
Just like a lot of men do. A lot of men go pear-shaped
and then show their
show their
cracks.
Their bottom. Here's another one, Steve. We have 3 more, and then we're going. It's almost time to say goodbye.
Oh,
Wow.
we've had an explanation for Furbar. Thank you very much for that,
Oh,
Nitro.
okay then. Yes. So it's actually an acronym.
Yes.
So an acronym. Okay. It's not a word. It's an acronym. You see, you must give the details. Something was wrongly done. So in this sense, we are using it as an adverb. Wrongly is referring to the action and how it was done at the same time. So the thing was wrong. It was wrongly done. It is the adverb we are using there. So a thing that was wrongly done was done in the wrong. It was done in the wrong way. Wrongly accused. A person might be accused of a certain crime, a serious crime, but then later they discover that that person didn't do anything. They were wrongly accused.
Or they were wronged. There's a word you can use,
Yes.
Mr. Duncan. You can be wronged. So that's wrong with an ED on the end.
which means
As you said, somebody accuses you of something, and they were wrong. They were. It was a mistake.
well,
And,
to be wronged is on the receiving end. So you are on the receiving end of that accusation. I was wronged.
Yeah. So
Another person did something against me.
you were accused of something. Maybe you were accused of stealing something, and it wasn't you. And I'm not saying the police are involved. That wouldn't be, somebody at work. Something's gone missing at work.
Yes.
And you are accused of stealing, maybe, I don't know, printer inks or something like that, and it wasn't you, but somebody's convinced it is you and accuses you of it, and you can say, well, I was wronged.
Yes.
That didn't happen. Then you might have to prove yourself.
Or you can say you were wrongly accused.
Wrongly accused or wronged.
I like it.
Or you might somebody your girlfriend might accuse you of cheating on her, or your boyfriend might accuse you of cheating on them, and it all escalates, and you can say, I was wronged. I was wrongly accused. Somebody might accuse you of having an affair with somebody at work.
Yeah. Okay. Something was wrongly done, and some phrases now, Mr. Steve. To get the wrong end of the stick. If you get the wrong end of the stick, it means you misunderstand something. You take something the wrong way. You hear something that a person says and you come to the wrong conclusion. You get the wrong end of the stick.
Yes, it means you misunderstand, doesn't it, Mr. Duncan? You misunderstand
Yes.
something that somebody's saying.
Or you take what they've said the wrong way. You think that person is being cruel to you, but in fact they are being kind to you. You get the wrong end of the stick. And we have one more, and that's it. You might be on the wrong side of the law.
That means that you are breaking the law, in effect. You're on the wrong side of the law. You go up a one-way street, or you steal something from a shop, or you commit a crime.
Yes. So you can be on the right side of the law, which means you are a person who is always good and nice. You never break the rules. Or, of course, you can be on the wrong side of the law, and that means you do break the law. You do break the rules. You are often on the wrong side of the law. That means you do things that are naughty or illegal. Ooh. And that is it, Mr. Steve. So many things. Wow. And you might not believe this, Steve. I probably could have found at least another 20 words, phrases, and all sorts of things connected to that subject. We could have done 2 hours about that one subject, because for some reason, I don't know why, there are so many ways of expressing making a mistake and getting things wrong. Isn't that weird? Anyway, that's almost it. I can't believe 2 hours has gone by so fast.
It always does, Mr. Duncan.
Yes.
And I'm hungry. Looking forward to a bit of burnt hot cross bun cake. I'm hoping it's not burnt on the inside.
Yes, I'm going to cut all the burnt pieces.
I don't know what's happened to that.
No.
Let's hope the bread maker hasn't gone wrong. Otherwise, I'll be accusing it of making a mistake.
I think it's Mr. Steve. I think he pressed the wrong button.
I did, because you have to press it to say whether you want a lightly baked loaf, a medium baked loaf, or a well baked loaf.
Is there a burnt setting?
I think I might have. You have to go through this menu. Which
yes,
is
I've got you.
So I think I probably made a mistake.
So I was wondering if there was a setting that's just a piece of coal sort of burning away.
I'm not sure, Mr. Duncan.
Anyway, it's almost time for Mr. Steve to leave us, and I will also be leaving just afterwards, because we've come to the end of another English Addict. It's incredible. But don't worry, because I am back with you on Wednesday. Wednesday is when I'm with you next. Wednesday, 2 p.m. UK time. Of course, we have lots of things to look at during that live stream. Can I also mention that this will of course be available. All of this will be here to watch with captions later on as well. So they will be there. Thank you for your company. Thank you very much once again to him over there, Mr. Steve.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week.
Isn't that lovely? And there he was. Mr. Steve is now leaving the building. He is now getting up. He's going across the room and he's walking into the kitchen, where he will now make a cup of tea for me and a slice of, I don't know what it, between you and me, Mr. Steve really did get it wrong. I don't know why. His lovely spicy, fruity loaf is burnt for some reason. I don't know how. I don't know how it happened. I really don't. Thank you, Mr. Steve, and thank you as well for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. I will see you on Wednesday, and I will be busy today and also tomorrow. I'm making lots of new lessons for my new YouTube channel. Ooh, are you intrigued? Are you keen to find out what is going on there? I hope you will join me then. Thank you for your company. It's been nice having you here today. I've enjoyed today's live stream very much. It's been a very lively one, even though I say so myself. Thank you for watching. It's so nice to see so many of you here today as well. Wednesday, 2 p.m. UK time is when I'm back with you. And also don't forget to give me a lovely like as well to show you care. And I will be back on Wednesday. Until then, take care of yourselves, stay happy, stay safe, keep that smile upon your face as you walk amongst the human race. And of course, I'm back on Wednesday. And of course, until the next time we meet here, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. It is a shame that I have to say goodbye. But don't worry, I will be back soon. And of course, ta-ta for now. See you on Wednesday.